Hi, it's me, Vicky Marie. Sorry, I've caught myself by surprise there. So I wasn't expecting to be coming on live stream this Sunday morning. Here in Spain, it is just coming up to 11 o'clock. So I suppose it's 10 o'clock in the UK. Let me know if you come onto the stream and start watching it, because I know it's totally unexpected. But if you do, let me know where you're watching from. And the reason I've decided to do this live stream is because yesterday there was breaking news that Amy Fitzpatrick, a 15-year-old girl who went missing in Spain, in Mijas, in Spain, 15 years ago, there was breaking news that a suitcase containing a skull and bones has been found in the nearby area. So there's some speculation as to whether this body that's been discovered in a suitcase may be Amy's body. So I sat down to make a video, to prepare for a video. I was really just going to do a breaking news video that this body or this skeletal remains had been found, and there was speculation that it might belong to Amy. Now, quite a while ago now, one of my subscribers suggested to me that I could look into the Amy Fitzpatrick case, and it was on my list. And but there's so much going on with the Nicola Bulley case, and then there was Mirelle Sturrock. Unfortunately, true crime, there's always something. There's always some development. Now there's the Levi Belfield, who's confessed to more murders, and I will still be going ahead with that live stream later on today. I normally focus on a serial killer on a Sunday. I call it Serial Killer Sunday, and it wasn't supposed to be him I was doing today, but I'm going to do look into his case because of the developments of the new murders that he's confessed to. So I sat down and I thought, now I was just going to do a community post to say about Amy, about this discovery of these bones that might possibly belong to Amy. And then when I sat down to research the case, oh my goodness, it's I'm almost speechless, really. I don't know why I feel speechless. I shouldn't feel speechless anymore. There's always, you should never be surprised with the behavior of people, but you'll see when I get into talking about this case, this is unbelievable, really. Without I am literally speechless, and it's not often I'm speechless. As you know, I do like to chat, but I am a little bit speechless about this case, and certainly the behaviour of Amy's mother. But anyway, I'll go into that later. Something I just wanted to say before I start. I know some of you might know or not know. Sometimes, obviously there's a lot of us on YouTube reporting on true crime. I'm just a small channel. I do it for really just, it's not my job to do this. I'm interested in it. I like to speak out for victims. I'm interested in it. So I do this. I hope to make it interesting for you and things that you're interested in, and give you food for thought and highlight the victims, like in this case in particular. I want to do that. So if any of you other YouTubers are watching and you want to steal some of my ideas like you have done before, I want you to steal this one, because I don't think this case has had enough attention. Maybe it's because of the length of time that's gone past. It's been 15 years since Amy disappeared. Maybe it's because she disappeared in Spain, because she disappeared in Malaga in Spain, which is not that far from where I am. But she's actually from Ireland. I don't know what the reasons are. It could be the length of time and the fact that there's not been many developments. But yeah, please take this idea and do a video on it, because it needs the most highlighting. I think it needs to be re-highlighted. If it is just the case that interest has waned because years have gone past, then it needs, because it's not been solved. But well, I say it's not been solved. To me, it's pretty obvious. But I suppose it all comes down to that thing called evidence. You know, another thing I just want to say before I start into this case, this did happen in Spain. Apparently, there's been some problems because obviously the language barrier. Amy's father is apparently a broken man, according to, and it's his sister, Amy's auntie Christine. She's making most of the publicity about it because Amy's father, Christopher, for other reasons that I will be going into in the video, he's a broken man. He's a totally broken man. And so, but there's been difficulties whenever they've tried to work with the Spanish police in translation. So I'm saying this openly in case by some, strange miracle, they are watching this video. I would like to offer myself as an interpreter free of charge, because I can come and talk. I know what the police are like in Spain. For those of you who live in Britain, and we all moan about the British police. Try dealing with the Spanish police. That's all I'd say. So whether there's a language barrier or not, they think in a different way. So you have to know how to deal with them. And I think that might be a problem that Christine and Christopher have had. And I'm quite happy to help with that. Although I'm not that close to them, but I can always help out over the telephone or by Zoom, etc. But I am going to contact Christine directly, because this case has really moved me. So I sat down to look into this case. I thought about putting it on a community post, and then I thought, oh no, I'll just do an update. I'll make a video and release it this morning. And then when I sat down to actually look into the case, there's so much that I wanted to say that I thought, oh my goodness, this is going to take me all day, to make a video about this case. So it's better to do a live stream. So that's why I'm doing a live stream, which later I will upload as a video and put some photos on and things. This is just to tell you the story of Amy Fitzpatrick, which of course is not over yet. And I want to thank that subscriber who quite a few weeks ago now suggested this case to me, and I'm just sorry I never got to it sooner. But maybe it's better that way, because it's coincided with this find in the hills in a suitcase. A skull has been found and some bones. So there is a body been found. Whether it's Amy's body or not, we don't know, but Amy is someone who is missing from that area. So there's a chance that it might be Amy's body. And although it sounds awful, we do hope it is Amy's body, because her family needs some resolution after 15 years of not, and she would be 30 now, Amy. She was 15 when she went missing. She now would be 30. Now, Christine, the aunt, Christine Kenny, she did say that there was some suggestions that the bones might belong to someone between 20 and 30, whereas Amy was only 15. But, obviously, it takes the forensic examiner to decide that. So there's a lot of tests to be done on those bones. There'll be DNA tests done, etc. And sooner or later, they'll establish if they are Amy's remains or not. But at the end of the day, even if they're not Amy's remains, if that's found as, belong to some other poor soul that's disappeared, at least it's brought the case back into people's attention, because we can't cases do fade over time. We're all quite obsessed with the Nicola Bulley case at the moment, but as years go on, even if there is no resolution to our satisfaction, as years go on, it will dissipate, because that's just what happens. So if nothing else, finding these remains, it will hopefully unite someone not unite them, but it will give some poor family somewhere. If it's not Amy's family, it will give someone's family a resolution in the disappearance of their loved one. So all we know at the moment is it's a woman, really, and we don't know any more than that. So we're waiting to, we will be waiting for the results of the tests on the bones. So, but gosh, let's have a look at this case, because when I started researching it this morning, as I said, I was just thinking I would just do a short video with the main, the bare facts of the case and the update of the finding of the bones. And when the more articles I read, and then of course there's quite a lot in the Spanish media about this case because it happened in Spain. So I started reading the Spanish news as well, and press releases about this case. And honest to God, when I first started reading them, I thought I was reading it wrong, because I thought, this can't be true. This cannot be true. But it is true. So then I had to go and look at them again in the English just to make sure, I know I'm a Spanish teacher and I am fluent in Spanish, but that's how extreme this case is, or how, out of the box this case is, that I actually was questioning whether I was actually reading that this had really happened. So for any of you who don't know about this case, which I didn't know all this, I knew there was a Amy Fitzpatrick, but I didn't really know much about the case, and I live in Spain, so I don't know. Anyway, she was 15 years old, Amy. It was New Year. How often do these things happen? Christmas, New Year, big events, big celebrations. I think there must be something in the air. Maybe it's the alcohol. I suppose at big celebrations, people get drunk and things get out of hand, or they take drugs, or, I don't know. But yeah, this was New Year's Eve. Amy had been at her friend's house. Now, let's have the background of Amy's family situation. So, Amy's mother and father had split up. Now, I haven't got the name of the mother here. I know I've got it here somewhere. I'm very angry with the mother, but let's see. Is it Audrey? Audrey. Yes, Audrey. So, Amy's mother, Audrey, and her father, Christopher, separated, and Audrey met a new man, and this man, Dave Maun. Oh, sorry, not Dave. Gosh, I can't find his name now. Where's his name? David Maun. They went off to, now, whether they met in, I'm not sure if they met in Mijas in Spain. I don't think so. They went off to live in Spain. Now, Mijas is a very beautiful place in the south of Spain near Malaga. It's very pretty. There's a lot of expats there, like there are in many parts of Spain. And she went off she was living there with her mother, Audrey, and her stepfather, David. And her brother also. Now, I know the brother wasn't living there. The brother was still in Ireland. And apparently, Amy, it's come out since, Amy's terrified of David, the stepfather. And there were a lot of comments at the time that Amy would spend as much time as she could out of the house alone, just because she didn't want to go home. She didn't want to go home and be in that household environment. It seemed like David drank a lot. He got angry a lot. There were a lot of problems. So she was terrified of him. Literally terrified of him. And she told a friend that one day him and his friend tried to break into the bathroom with a hammer. She was in the bathroom in her underwear and they were trying to break into the bathroom with a hammer. That was the sort of environment she was living in. How, Audrey, this is for you. If her mother Audrey is watching this, what planet are you on? What planet are you on? How do you let a man terrorize your child like that? And we'll see what happens later as well to your other child. And what is wrong with you? Is it that important to have a partner, to have a man in your life, that your own children, that he's done what he's done to your children and you are accepting of that? What is wrong with you? I'm angry with him, but I'm really angry with you as well, because you are the mother. So she was terrified of David. Everybody, this was sort of common knowledge amongst her friends that she was terrified of him. And this New Year's Eve, she'd been at her friend's house. She left the house in the early hours of the morning to go home, and she's never been seen since then. Disappeared, off the face of the earth, vanished into thin air. Now, apparently she had a satchel with her, which her auntie Christine is saying that's one reason why she's quite hopeful about these bones that have been discovered, because apparently there has been a satchel discovered with them, but that's not been confirmed yet. That's just an article I read that Christine said that. So that's one thing that's given her a little bit of hope. The other thing she had with her was a pink mobile phone that she'd had at her friend's house. Now, this mobile phone, it had no SIM card in it, because her loving stepfather, David, he had broken her mobile phone that she used to make calls, etc., with a SIM card in. He'd broken that during the discussion. So all she had was this pink mobile phone that had no SIM card in it, but she just used to use it for music and to store numbers, to store her friends' phone numbers. So this disappeared as well with her. So I presume at the time there would have been a big investigation, etc. No evidence came out. Now, we then need to jump forward a little bit to what happened in Ireland. So I presume they moved back to Ireland in the end. They didn't stay in Spain, probably to get away from the police or whatever. And that's another thing. I feel like they probably did that. They probably, as soon as they thought they could get away from Mijas and go back to Ireland, they would have done, so that the Guardia the Spanish police didn't keep sort of bugging them or whatever. But if there's no evidence, there's no evidence. And as I say, if you think our police are a bit rubbish, I shouldn't say that, probably have the Spanish Guardia breathing down my neck, but they're not very good. They're not very good. The Policía Nacional in Spain, we have 3 police forces. You've got your Policía Local, they deal with local things, just like, they're like your bobbies on the beat that we used to have in the UK. They deal with just disputes between neighbours. They accompany the children to school, do the crossings to school. They deal with the local things that go on. We then have the Guardia Civil. They're like a bit more serious. They're like, obviously they're much more modern now than even when I arrived here 25 years ago, but they used to be, Franco's times, they were like the armed police. They could shoot you for speaking in Catalan, or they were like really hated because they were so sort of, they're like a military police really, or they were. They're modernizing now. Obviously things change as young people come in, and they're much more, I've found they're much more approachable now than even 25 years ago, but they're still, you would never argue with them. I mean, I would not argue with the Guardia Civil, and I speak Spanish. You don't argue with them. You can't shout at them and tell them that you think they're rubbish like we do to the police in the UK. You just don't do that. You know, you just don't do it. You know, and they're not very popular, let's say, in general with the local population. You know, they're a little bit feared, I think, and they're quite what's the word? They're quite you know, they're respected, but maybe feared a little bit, if that makes sense. Then, and it depends which area you're in. You know, if you're in like little village areas and whatever, you definitely wouldn't argue with them. Then we have the Policía Nacional, and they'll be the ones that would deal with these kind of things. They're like deal with more serious things. They liaise with other countries, and I would imagine it's them that's dealing mainly with these sort of cases, but I don't know for sure. I really would, Christine, if you are watching this by some, I really would help out. I've had a lot of dealings with the police. I've done a lot of interpreter work for people with the police. There's a way of dealing with the police. They are actually very nice and very helpful, but without the language and without knowing the way they think, you will really struggle to get anywhere. And if you need help with that, I will definitely help with that. So that's the 3 layers of police in Spain. So presumably it's the Policía Nacional who are the more sort of deal with the more serious crimes, who are dealing with this case. But Audrey and her husband, you know, Amy's mother and stepfather, they went back to Ireland. And then this is just what sort of, let me find the year that it happened. There was a dispute. So Amy had a brother, Dean Fitzpatrick. In the 2013, he was 23 years old. And, well, that was when the court case came up. So there was a dispute which resulted in this court case against David. There was an altercation outside their home, and David Mound, the stepfather of Amy, who went missing in Malaga, who was terrified of her stepfather, David, well, I can't say murdered Dean, he killed Dean with a knife. He stabbed him during an altercation, and he was given a 7-year prison sentence. So I'm just incredulous with this, because then Dean and Amy's mother went on to marry this man who's suspected in the disappearance of her 15-year-old daughter, and this man who has killed her son. She went on to marry him. She's still with him now. I'm just a bit sort of beyond it. And he then appealed against his sentence, 7 years for killing someone. He appealed against it. I presume it was ended up being manslaughter. It may have even been self-defense. I don't know what the actual result of, you know, what they called it was, but he got 7 years. He appealed against his sentence, saying that Dean had actually committed suicide by walking onto his knife. Do you know, you couldn't make it up, could you? You couldn't make a Netflix documentary, well, a Netflix series, like a fictional series that people would watch and think, oh, that's ridiculous. I mean, oh God, this man, has he got no? So he's killed this boy, his partner's son. He's implicated, and in my eyes, I would imagine 99% certain that he was involved in the disappearance of Amy. And he's got the brass neck, he's got the balls to go out there and say, oh, it was suicide actually because he walked onto the knife. You know, just when you think you've heard it all, you've seen it all, nothing else can shock you or whatever, you hear something else that some idiot comes out with. He also assaulted a 70-year-old man on Thursday, August the 26th in 2011, I think it is. You know, so he's a violent man. He's a violent man. He's got a history of violence. You know, it's not. I don't know what is Audrey thinking of being with that man? Is she scared? Are you, if you're watching this yourself, Audrey, are you scared of him? I mean, what could make a woman stay with a man who's killed certainly one of her children, and likely the other one? And the other reason why I'm so sure of that, this pink mobile that disappeared, you know, the pink mobile that disappeared along with Amy, later was found in their flat, in their house. So Amy had arrived home that night because the phone was there and the phone was found. Since then, that phone has been stolen from the lawyer's office and disappeared, but it was found in the property of Audrey and David. So it proves that she arrived home that night. Doesn't prove that he killed her, but I think he definitely killed her, and I think her mother knows exactly that he killed her. And for some unknown reason, I mean, my God, he must have what charisma he must have if she's so in love with him that she can just turn her back on her daughter being murdered and her son as well. So no wonder Christopher, the father of these two poor children, no wonder he is a broken man. My goodness. So he's having to deal with that. And then I do think this is a big problem, this language barrier, you know, going out to Spain and trying to get information from the police, or to even cooperate with the police. There's a lack of, because of the language barrier, there'll be a lack of cohesion between sort of whatever happened in Ireland and what's happening with the investigation in Spain against Amy. I'm presuming that the police in Malaga, they know about the fact that he then went on to kill her brother in an altercation in Ireland. But, or do they? I mean, I don't know, because I would have to speak to the police directly. I definitely I'm going to try and get involved in this case somehow, because I'm just incensed. I'm angry again, but well, it's good. I'm glad I'm angry, because you know what, you have to be angry, because you can't let these things can't be allowed to happen. People can't be allowed to literally get away with murder. They just can't be allowed to do it. Right, so I think that's it. So you see, that would have taken me so long to put a video together. I am going to do that. I'm going to take this video where I've explained the story of Amy and what all the events that have happened, put the photos in there that I want to show everyone of her, and well, you can see the photos in the thumbnail. I mean, 15 years old, and apparently she was very slight, because she was having, people had noticed she was having real problems with her weight, etc. And she was probably worried sick. Can you imagine? When you home, I mean, your home should be your safe place, shouldn't it? Whatever else is going on in the world, there's a lot of bad things going on in the world, etc. But you should be able to come home and be safe. Be safe. You should certainly be safe with your parents. It's just awful to think that she was spending so much time terrified to go home, hanging around the streets on her own rather than go home. Gosh. Okay, so let me just see, is there anything else that I haven't? No, just her friends saying that she lived in fear of her life. She wanted to come home, to go home to Ireland and live with her father. I don't know why she didn't do that. I don't know why that would have happened. Then later they tried to make suggestions. Her mother tried to make suggestions that Amy was involved in like drug running, like sitting in the car as a watch out for, she didn't really know the ins and outs of it. Amy was doing all these things she didn't know about, but what she was really trying to do was create a story that Amy was involved in drug activities or whatever, so create an alternative possibility of what had happened to Amy. But it's obvious that Amy arrived, and maybe her stepfather was involved in drug activities. That may have been like a sort of a truth within a lie, if you like, that maybe she was doing that for him. I don't know. That again takes more digging. But the things that we do know that are facts is the pink mobile phone was found in their flat or in their house. So she did arrive home that night. Amy herself had told her friends she lived in fear of her life from her stepfather, and had told them about that incident where him and a friend of his were battering down the bathroom door with a hammer trying to get to her when she was just in the bathroom with her underwear. So, this man, he then killed her brother. He's assaulted a 70-year-old man. This is a man who is violent. He's got a history of violence. So I'd like to see him brought to justice. And the mother, I just have no words for the mother. What is she thinking of? What could make a man more important than your two children? And I'm not just talking about, he's more important for the time that you spend with them. I'm talking about someone who's killed them. For goodness sake, woman, what's wrong with you? Anyway, there was a few of you came in and out of here. Thank you for that. I know it was a very impromptu stream. I just find, the thing is, I've just once I started reading about it and started gathering the information, I just had to talk about it. I just had to. I couldn't wait to do it on the video. I wanted to actually talk about it, and I will make it into a video and release it, polish it up a bit, maybe add a few bits and pieces. But thank you for having the patience with me to sit through and listen. Thank you if you haven't liked this video. If you did like it, please like it, if that makes sense. So if you like this video, please press like, because that always helps me out. If you're not yet a subscriber, please subscribe, because that helps as well. And I will keep you posted on this case, but I will see you later in the live stream about Levi Belfield and his new revelations that I mentioned yesterday in the community post. He will be, he's an interesting character, another evil person. Sometimes you wonder how many of these types of people are just living amongst us. It's like quite scary, isn't it? Because you can be just sort of talking to someone when you're walking your dog and you don't know, or you meet somebody, or you get chatting to somebody on the bus, or someone at work, new person starts at work, and you don't know their history. I mean, you should be able to check out people's history, because if, for example, Audrey and David split up, and then David might move to another completely different area, nobody would know anything about him. I've seen the pictures of him. He's sort of, a middle-aged man now. But, he could be out in a bar or a pub, I suppose. I could call them bars here in Spain. But he could be out in a pub, chatting to somebody, some poor woman who doesn't know anything about his history. You should be able to check it out. And both ways. It works both ways, because there's women out there that haven't been brought to justice as well. You should be able to check out someone's criminal history, because then if I met him in a bar and we got chatting and thought, oh, he's quite nice, if I did, I should be able to look up his name and tell me whether he's got a criminal history of violence towards women or not. Or, he's actually killed someone, assaulted a 70-year-old, and is suspected in the disappearance of his stepdaughter. You should be able to know all that before you embark in any sort of relationship with them. Okay, that's what I think anyway. So remember to always live and love very carefully. You tell me, what do you think? I mean, did you know about this case, first of all? And what do you think about David and the situation and the mother, etc.? I mean, what do you think about it? And do you think this will ever be resolved in that Amy's bones? Hopefully those are, I mean, it sounds awful to say hopefully they're about bones, but I think it's pretty evident after 15 years, Amy is no longer alive. So better that those bones are Amy's, because not only her family get resolution, but it means that it's not another poor family who have lost someone who maybe, I mean, if there is another family that's lost someone, it's better that they find out too, I suppose. But, I don't know. We have to wait and see for that. But let's hope that Christopher gets some resolution and some justice for Amy. Okay, so I'll see you later in the live stream, hopefully. If not, you can watch the video after it's streamed. It's at 7 o'clock European time, 6 o'clock UK time, where I'll be talking about the lovely Levi Belfield. And yeah, till I see you then, may your God go with you. Bye. Oh, no, I've got something covering up where I'm trying to. Okay, bye. I think I've done it yet.